Good evening, friends and family. Good evening. Come on in. This is Miss Margaret coming to you with Let's Talk, this new vlog that I've started on the conversations with the more mature. Grab your cup of tea, coffee, water, whatever, and come on in and let's just talk about it, okay? Well, this is Sunday evening, and many of you may not even, it may be out celebrating Memorial Day weekend. I know a lot of people celebrated yesterday, and many people are celebrating today. Tomorrow is actually Memorial Day. However, the forecast is saying that it's going to rain. So I think a lot of people may be out celebrating tonight. But I still wanted to come on here and just kind of talk. Anyone that may be listening, this is not a live recording, so I'll be posting this later on. But I just wanted to come on here and share with you some things, and let's just talk about it. Now, I've been talking about self-care for several weeks now. Tomorrow's the last day in May. As many of you may know, May has been the month where they've been talking about mental health, okay? And so we want to take care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, socially. And so I have been going through a journey myself, okay, and gathering information and listening to other YouTubers and gleaning as much as I can, and sometimes it's just having a platform or having a sounding board to talk about things that may be bothering you. Earlier this week, I was listening to a talk, I think it was a podcast, and it was on this week. I think it's Alpha Street Baptist Church out of Alexandria, Virginia. And it was two doctors on there, and they were talking about mental health and self-care and how leaders, have to take care of themselves. And I probably shared some of this on my morning walk, I think. I was talking about it on this past week. But I was listening to just some of the information that was given. And I don't know, many of you may be leaders in your home, leaders on your job, leaders in your church, leaders in your community, leaders in your school. I don't know, whatever capacity that you serve as a leader. And a lot of times, leaders burn out too, okay? And we're always concerned about how others are doing. How are others doing? And so the question comes up, how are you doing? And we need to ask ourselves, particularly as mature women or men, how am I doing? Really, how am I doing? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing physically? How are you doing spiritually? How are you doing socially? How are you doing financially? How are you doing really? You have to ask yourself these questions. And I was thinking about that uh, as I was walking. I was doing morning walk yesterday, and just thinking about the conversation that was going on. And so yesterday evening, this being the holiday weekend, I have been dealing with some emotional things going on in my heart and in my mind, and I felt like I was trying to identify, what's going on with you. How are you doing, Margaret? I had to ask myself that question. My husband had gone to work, and I had been home pretty much all day. And normally this time of year, with the exception of last year, and even maybe last year, we had some type of cookout where we had a grab and go or something like that. And so I was in the middle of cooking all last year, and I've always been, anyone that knows me, I love entertaining. I love, you know, hospitality. I love doing those things. And in the past, as I have shared, I've always been one to always have things going on. And so since COVID, that shut down a lot of the entertaining and the gathering that, we used to do. And even though things are opening up now, um, I think we've kind of pretty much like, is it safe? Do I want to do it now? And then, of course, this year has been challenging. Even in 2021, it's been challenging. We've been having some health issues. And so, kind of slow down a little bit, okay, if you will. And so, I was thinking on yesterday, I said, well, I don't know what anybody wants to do. Um, really didn't feel like or felt had the energy to do a whole lot of big, you know, preparations of having a whole lot of people come over. Yet I miss my family and I want to see them. I miss my grandchildren. You know, I just miss that gathering that we have done on holidays. And this year, none of us have made plans. Now I know my sister made plans with her family, and she has a huge family. Our family is big, and usually if we have everybody get together, we have to have a huge venue or a park or something because, nobody's house can really hold everybody. And so didn't want to put that task on myself or my husband. So, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what we're gonna do. So we were waiting to hear from our kids, and really didn't hear. Well, I heard from them where they were just doing, resting, having their own quiet time. And so anyway, I'm saying, well, okay, we probably just won't do anything. We won't plan anything, you know. And it just kind of made me feel some kind of way. And so I went out yesterday evening because I said I want to get out, just get out the house, and I think I'm just gonna go. I wanted to pick up. I'm on this health regimen, trying to change my health. I have to change my health uh, diet, and I needed to pick up some vegetables and some fruit that I wanted to get. So I was out and I was just driving. I said, well, I may go to the lake and just sit out at the lake and just kind of people watch. And then I kind of wanted to go downtown, but then by the time I would leave the house, it would be late, and I really didn't want to be down there very late by myself. So I just decided I'll just kind of drive around. And I was driving, and as I was driving, this uh, just this spirit just came over me. I was feeling uh, I was feeling somewhat grieved because of some issues that has happened in my family, and there's been a like an ending, not an ending in the relationship, but an ending in the fellowship. Okay, and that and of particular people, which I won't get into, which is kind of private. But I miss the fellowship. I miss the get-togethers with these particular people, and I was just feeling kind of, and I hadn't heard from them, And I've been reaching out and reaching out and no response, reaching out and no response. Have you ever had people that you start reaching out to and you don't get a response? Well, it made me feel some kind of way. And I'm like, I know there's some other details which may be causing it, but then I'm thinking, no, I don't think it's that, and I'm saying, well, it's time to let it go. And it's been one of those, I've been praying about it, thinking, well, Lord, this is for you. I'm just going to give this to you. I'm casting the care on it. And I remember praying the other night, and I just said, Lord, just take it, because I believe that my heart has been somewhat grieved behind it, which I think is could be possibly part of some of the health issues that I'm recovering from. I'm gonna say recovering because I'm coming out of this. You best believe it. And so anyway, as I was driving yesterday, I drove past and I said, I don't even need to be over here, but hoping I would get a glimpse. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Not stalking, but just maybe get a glimpse of somebody. So, and that didn't happen. So I kept on, and it hurt my heart in a way. And this may sound real, well, it's not. I'm not trying to be spiritual. I'm not. I'm not trying to be superwoman. I'm not trying to be that. I'm just being real on how I really have been feeling. I've been feeling this way a long time, not wanting to admit it, not wanting to admit that I'm hurt, not wanting to admit that my feelings have been hurt, not wanting to admit that I'm really, I'm really, it just makes me feel some kind of way. Okay, not even able to really articulate what I'm feeling, but I'm not all right. Okay, I'll put it that way. I'm not all right with it, but I know I've got to get all right with it. But as I was driving, I began to just, get my mind on other things, to kind of take my mind off of that. And as I was driving, and I'm like, well, where would I, who could I go and see, or who could I go visit or talk to be as a distraction? And I really couldn't think of anyone that I could really just go to and talk. So I said, well, Lord, I'm going to talk to you, because everybody is busy. Everybody has got things going on. It's a holiday, and, you know, I can always talk to you. So I continued driving, and I ended up at one of the marketplaces that I was going to go to, and my sister called, and I listened to her and talk, and we had a little chat. She was asking me about how to prepare something, Anyway, and then I was trying to do a little shopping also. So anyway, after that, I came on, and I was just saying, Lord, I'm I just I just feel yucky. But I talked my way out of it, and I prayed, and I just said, Lord, I just thank you that you promised that you would never leave nor forsake. And it's not anybody's job to pull me out of this place. It's the power of the Holy Spirit that's able to do it. And so I got okay. And then this morning when I got up, and I was gonna go to church, but it was cool and it looked like it was gonna rain, and they were doing some type of movie at this particular fellowship where I was gonna go, and I'm like, I'm really not into up to going to see a movie. So I went to online stream, what I've been doing for the last 13, 14 months, watching church online. And so as I was watching the message, I was listening to Alpha Street Baptist Church, Howard John Wesley, powerful minister. And his message is on May the Lord Watch. And there's a scripture that says, "May the Lord watch between you and me," or you and thee, I think is in the King James Version, "while we're absent one from another." And he began to minister on that particular scripture. And he said there was a place called Mizpah. And at that place, Mizpah, it's a place of where you're is of ending, a place of ending. And it was where Laman and Jacob made say, "May the Lord watch between you and me. That you're taking my daughters, you're going away, and this is how we're going to end." And it was the ending that gave glory to God. And so he began to minister in these areas of how sometimes there are things in our lives that are so dysfunctional, and they can rob you of your peace and all of that. And you got to know when there is a Mizpah moment. And as I was listening to that message, I started going in my mind of the things that how I was feeling. And I said, "Lord, maybe this is where I am in the relationship, that it's a Mizpah moment." And I wanted to be well with all of us. And that whole thing, "May the Lord watch between me and you, me and thee, while and when we're absent one from another." And there are people that have been a part of my life for many, many years, and they're absent now. Not that they're gone, and I know a lot of people are probably dealing with this because many, many, many people have lost relatives and loved ones and acquaintances to COVID in so many areas. Uh, and that's that they're absent. They're absent this holiday. And mine hasn't been to the point where I've lost them to death, but lost them, or they're absent from my life due to other circumstances, other things. And it's been grievous to me, even though I didn't want to admit it. I said, "Oh, I can go on, I can move on," but it's been very difficult to do that and be okay. I mean, I'm functioning. I'm okay. I can move. I'm still active. I can still do what I do, but it's a missing, it's an absence that has brought me some grief and has affected me, and I really didn't want to admit it until I heard this podcast, and the question was asked, "How are you?" And I had to ask myself, "How are you?" And when I think about certain people that has been in my life and all of a sudden they're not in my life, how it has made me feel. And I admitted I'm not well about it, but I want to be, okay? And so the message today is where God can strategically and engineer endings, that someplace and some point in time you have to move on with your life. And many of us as seniors are mature people, women and men. Our children grow up and they move on. Our loved ones may pass on, or it may be an ending in a job, a career. When is that over? It may be an ending in a place where we've served for so long, but there's a point where there's an ending, there's a Mizpah moment. And so that's what I learned today. And so if you are feeling that way, and many people may be alone on this holiday, they have no one there. Uh, and it may be time to meet new friends. And that's one of the things that the Lord told me, said, you got to form different kinds of relationship. That was the relationship that you had, and it was there for that season. but it's time to move on and form different kinds of relationships, for this season of your life. And I think that many of us, as seniors, as more mature people, you know, we we need to stay open and stay adventurous enough to continue to form new relationships. Because if one ends, it's not like, oh, what am I going to do? That relationship is over with, or this is it's come to an end, or it's just different. Um, like I said, our children grow up. We've been so busy taking care of them and running here and running there with them, and all of a sudden they grown and they're gone. Y'all heard about the empty nests? Now my kids have been gone for a long, long time. They grown and gone. But there's certain things and activities that you have with your kids, your grandkids, and all of a sudden. And I remember saying this to one of my grandchildren when he turned 13. And I said it, and I don't know why I said it. I just felt it. I said, now that you're 13, you're not going to want to be around grandma no more, because you're becoming a teenager. He said, oh, grandma, I'm on it. I know I won't. I'll call you. And then all of a sudden, the phone calls stop coming. And then other things has happened uh, between, during that process. A lot of other stuff happened. But it happened. So I'm like, well, Lord, I hope I didn't prophesy into that, but it is what it is. So again, tonight, I'm not trying to be spiritual. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, and then I have a grown grandchildren that I very seldom talk to. I see them and I talk to them and they're doing well. Uh, but this particular one, I said, because it's just some things that has happened and it kind of grieved me. Okay, so anyway, you may be there, and as seniors, sometimes uh, seasons change, and we have to be able to embrace the change. I've been talking about change all this time. We're in doing a new normal, okay? And everything, I mean, like I said, and I've said so many times, 2021 was a shift for everybody. And now that things are opening up, we're having to learn how to do things differently, more cautiously. And there has been some changes that has happened during this time, during this process. And so just working through those things. And so that's just some of the stuff that I wanted to kind of talk to you tonight about. What do we do when we have uh, when we're going through situations of change, or people, or activities, or that become absent. We had to adjust to where you don't go to the movies no more. And I was thinking about that yesterday. Well, I used to just go and run to a movie. I used to go get with my friends and we'd go out to dinner, or we'd go and hang out or do something like that. And it was a paradigm shift. Now, how do we gradually get back into that? Where do we go from here? And I really don't, do we pick up where we left off? I think there's a lesson that we need to learn uh, that, I don't want it to be just like it was, but because it can become so, um, what's the word I want to use? It can become so routine, okay? But you know, there's some other things that we can do, and we have to learn to shift with our time and with our season. And I don't know how you feel about that, but let me know what's going on in your life that, and how are you doing, really? Have you asked yourself, how are you doing? You know, we have that old cliche answer, oh, girl, I'm doing fine, I'm blessed and highly favored, you know, and yes, we are we are blessed and we are highly favored, but emotionally, how are you doing? And what's bothering you? What's eating you? What's eating at you? Uh, and I know even yesterday when I was doing my walk, not my walk, was I was doing my drive. You know, normally with me feeling like way, I would stop somewhere and just get me something to eat, something that was spicy, something that was real delicious, and all of that, and just that would be the buffer to take that mood away from me. But since I'm on this, you know, watching my diet and stuff like that, I couldn't fall back on that on yesterday. I couldn't fall back, well, I'll just run in here to this restaurant or run in here to this fast food and grab me something. And I was eating to put a band-aid on things that I'm feeling. And that's how sometimes we can get overweight. We it's not what you're eating, but it's what's eating you. And we try to drown that. I'm being transparent uh, tonight without getting too detailed on how and things that I've been dealing with. Okay, and so anyway, and I was talking to my husband about it, you know, and I was saying, you know, honey, I said I think some of the things that has been bothering me this is that my spirit has been grieved, my heart's been grieved. He said, really? And I said, yeah. And I kind of shared with him more details about what it is. He said, okay. He said, I understand that. I can understand that. And so, you know, we talked about it, and so uh, you know, so he kind of knows what's going on with me, and so he decided. He said, "Well, we're gonna, if it nothing else, we'll do something just you and I, you know." So he's planning on some stuff, and it'll probably just be the two of us on tomorrow. And if it rains, you know, so what? Let it rain. I said, well, I said, it's going to rain. You're not going to grill. He said, I'm a grill. He said, I don't care nothing about the rain. I'll grill in the rain. I said, okay, you know, so he's trying to make me feel better. But anyway, I'm feeling better today. But it has been something that I'm working through. And I'm saying, okay, Lord, give me the give me the grace to know when it's a misfile moment, when it's time to say, may the Lord watch between you and thee while we're absent one from another. That's what I'm having to learn how to do. I don't know about you. And there may be some relationships. Again, there may be a business or a job that is like, I can't do this anymore. It's time to go. And he was telling the story of Jacob and his father-in-law uh, uh, that had used him, that had manipulated him for all these years, and it was time for him to go. And Laman didn't want to let him go. He worked for 7 years to get a wife that he didn't want. Then he worked another 7 years to get the wife he did want. And then he had to work another 7 years, you know, to get get his livestock built up. And he finally said, it's time to go. You know, it's been wonderful, but it's time to let go. It's time to let our children grow up and go. It's time to let go of old relationships that may not be good for us. And it may not be a bad thing. It may just be time. It may be on a job if you find yourself restless or you don't seem to be, it's like a mundane, oh, I'm so sick, and you hate going. If you hate getting up and you start grumbling about going to work, on Sunday, and you know you got to be there Monday, and you start complaining, oh, I got to go to work, it may just be time after so many years and you can't find any kind of peace or joy in doing what you're doing. It may be time to just call it a misspire moment. Let the Lord lead you and guide you, okay? Uh, and I've shared this before, there was a misspire moment in my life back in 2020. I had to make a decision that it was time to go. And I did. I left. And so there are relationships that you may be involved in and that's not healthy. And every time you get around that particular person or people or group, it makes you, you feel some kind of way. It may be time to do a misspire moment and say, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. So I just wanted to get on here tonight and share that with you. Tell me what you think. You know, I've gone over my 30 minutes, so I'm going to cut this off. But if you enjoyed, if you got anything from this uh, video tonight, would you please like, share, and subscribe? Until next time, you all have a wonderful and blessed night. Bye bye.